Hi everyone. So in this particular video, we will be talking about few of the AWS scenario-based questions, and here I will be covering few of the questions which are specific to AWS and other topics as well. So the given first question is that all these questions are firstly I will let you know that all these questions are real and it has been asked in different interviews, correct? So that's why these questions I have summarized to help you while you are appearing for your interview. So the first question up here, given a Java application which is on version control tool, might be GitLab, GitHub, anywhere, correct? You have to set up CICD, which can be deployed anywhere, might be EC2 or Kate cluster. You are using AWS EKS cluster, or you might be using Google Cloud Engine, correct? GKE. So what will all be the steps? So the answer to this particular question will be like, firstly, you will have to understand the requirement. Like here, if we are mentioning the Java application, so either we are using Gradle or Maven for building the Java application, correct? So before that, you have to understand the requirement. What are the all the requirements? And then once you have understand the requirement, then you have to do the configurations of your, like whether you have to deploy it on EC2 or the Kate cluster. If it needs to be deployed on EC2, so how much memory is required, how much RAM, CPU is required, your heap size and everything, correct? All those configuration need to be there. And if you whether it's need to be deployed on Kate cluster, so what will be all the security stuffs related things. Once all the things are cleared, you can go with the CI/CD pipelines, and for that you can either select your Jenkins or the GitHub, or if you want to use the Argo CD or any other tools, you can use for CI/CD. And with the help of that, you can define multiple steps, starting from checking out the source code, then creating run you like building your application. Then if you have built the application, create image out of that, push that image to AWS CCR or some of the repository, and then pull it back to deploy over the EC2 or your Kate cluster. So these are the steps you can use, and you can follow the process to implement your CI/CD. Then your next question comes to push it on Kubernetes. You are using Helm chart or manifest file. So whatever you are using, like you might be using Helm charts, and from that you are creating template file, and from the manifest file you might be passing the values to this Helm template, correct? So that might be your use case or the solution what you have implemented at your end. Then your next questions comes at questions on writing Docker file. So here you can have your multi-stage Docker file, simple Docker file for running your Nginx application or for running your database, MySQL, PostgreSQL, or any of the different application, correct? So you can go through a simple Docker file example, and you can answer based on that. Next questions comes is, what are the component of Kubernetes from master server perspective and slave server perspective, correct? So for the master, there are few components. Those are four: API server, your controller, your scheduler, and etcd. So all these have the different functionality. If you want to get into the depth of that, you can watch out the other videos on my channel. And for the slave as well, kubelet, kubeproxy, and your container runtime. These are the three components for the slave. So for the detail, you can watch out the videos. I'm just focusing on the question itself. Fifth question, let's suppose one Nginx pod is running in Kate. I want to expose it to October like that. So here, the topic is specifically focused on your service. So there are three type of service, correct? You understand the cluster IP, the node port, and the load balancer, correct? If you want to expose it to the external world, you can use the load balancer as a type, or you can use the node port where you can pass the IP address of the server, correct? Then question is, I have a NetDB pod also running inside the cluster, but in separate namespace A, and application is in namespace B. How will you connect them? So here it's more focused on your network policy within the Kubernetes. So that concept you will have to revise and learn to answer this question. Then a question comes at, what is the difference between secret and config map? So secret we use for sensitive values like certificate related things or any of the password related thing, which is encrypted, correct? While the config here we can implement the RBAC as well to make it more secure. While config map have your dynamic values for different environment variables. Then questions come, what are the parameters of auto scaling? So it's CPU, RAM, number of requests. So based on these different parameters, you can create your dynamic policies and that can be implemented in auto scaling. Then a difference between EC2 and Lambda function. So EC2 is a kind of virtual server where you have to define your OS, images, your architecture and everything. And it runs till the time you stop, correct? It runs continuously, while Lambda function is only invoked when you trigger something and it charges for that particular moment only. It's serverless as well. Lambda function is called as serverless. That means you don't have to worry about the infrastructure which is running behind. Then the 10th question, it's similar for like I have to deploy a microservice. In what different cases I will go for Lambda and EC2. If it's a static kind of application or simple application, you can go for the Lambda, you can test it. If it's the application which should be continuously running, that for that you can deploy it on EC2. So based on your use case of the application, you can select either EC2 or Lambda. So that's it. That's all in this particular video. We will be talking more about other questions in next video. Thank you.